How are you feeling?
Well, about conference or about the Tory party?
It's much quieter, it's true.
There's an unwillingness to accept reality, and certainly an unwillingness to admit the problems that the Conservative Party has caused.
Jumping ship is not necessarily going to improve the country.
So you're here for conference, Tory conference. How are you feeling?
Well, about conference or about the Tory party? A lot of people make it sound like, people are despondent. I don't think they are. I think that the vibe is more there's an unwillingness to accept reality, and certainly an unwillingness to admit the problems that the Conservative Party has caused. The amount of talks I've gone to, MPs, shadow ministers, who will lay blame on Labour for doing something that we started 10 years ago. I think that's the problem that isn't being addressed. This big elephant in the room is we had 14 years, we haven't done these things. We're now complaining about things that happened on our watch. And that creates a very strange atmosphere. I mean, the whole conference really feels more like a trade show.
I'm not, going to be back there, Bob, and pretend everything's swimmingly fine, But when you have people like Darren Grimes, for instance, saying literally no one's here, that's just... Why lie about that sort of stuff when there's video evidence? That's just not true. I mean, it could be busier, sure, but, it's not like wholly dead, which if we were completely in the dirt, then I'm pretty sure we would be.
Well, it's much quieter, it's true. I thought Kemi started it off really well on Sunday. With a very positive message, and we've got a lot to do. We've got a lot of challenges, but I think that as a party we're up for the challenge.
How does it feel to be a Conservative at this moment in time?
Frustrating, really. I'm a councillor at West Berkshire Council. We ran the council for 18 years, and then we were unceremoniously dumped in 23. The Liberal Democrats have taken over. And I really miss being involved in the decision-making process and working with great officers and civil servants, doing good for the people of West Berkshire. So that's that colours my mood when I think about the party. I think we've got it's going to be a long haul to get back into control in councils, in government, but we've got to work hard.
I'm pretty positive, actually. I think we're starting to work out our message. I think I didn't vote for Kemi or Jenrick. I refused to vote, and they weren't my ideal candidates. I supported Tom Tugendhat, then James Cleverly very briefly before he had to step back again. So, neither of them were my preferred candidates, but I think Kemi's doing a really good job because she's, as I say, she wasn't my choice, but she's looked at policy, she's spending time considering things, weighing up the options and making decisions. Now, I think that's much better than just headline policies, throwing it out there every single day. So I think there's a better chance for us in the future. Obviously the polls are really bad now, but they change. They go up and down year on year, month by month. So at the moment I'm focused on what we can do internally to strengthen ourselves. And then when we start to present ourselves back to the electorate, I think we're doing a really good job at getting towards that level where we can do it in a much more cohesive and a way that I think will reach more people.
Why do you think there are less people here, and why do you think people have gone home?
Boring speakers. I think that's the main thing. Mel Stride's great. He's clearly on top of things. He's a very smart man. I think he would be an excellent chancellor. Is he the most charismatic speaker? Is he the kind of person that you think, oh yeah, I'll go out my way to watch that? Not particularly. But I mean, to be honest, the conference hall, the main stage is always pretty dead. It's not exactly like a nice place to go and sit in. It's stuffy, it's warm. Plenty of reasons for that. But you look at the Conservative front bench and you don't really think, cool, that's a talented bunch, or wow, what a speaker, I don't want to miss him or her. I think that's the main reason. It's the main reason why I haven't gone to many of them, because I think it's not exactly what I want to be spending an hour doing sat there. Especially when, if you're talking about policies now, it's never going to happen. So it's a bit of it's a hiding to nothing.
Well, to be fair, from what I've seen, the seats haven't been too bad. I saw pictures online, but I think that's just people spinning it. It's like they'll take pictures of 8 a.m. conference meetings. Most people aren't in for that, so it's going to look a bit empty. But when the first speech that Badenoch had, full room, most of the conferences I've been in, it's been packed with people queuing outside.
Is there a future for the Tory party?
Possibly. I mean, there is a possibility of a party to the right, which is a little bit more serious than what Reform are offering. I don't want to sound like I'm being like some, party pooper or anything, but if we're looking at Reform, say what you will about Farage, but I think he's wholly serious about what he believes and what he wants to do compared to a lot of the people behind who I don't think are, especially when a lot of the Boris hanger-ons who are probably one of the big reasons we're in this mess have gone and flocked over there. Like, biggest example, they complain about the Online Safety Act in Congress. Literally the next day, here's the architect of the Online Safety Act, Nadine Dorris, willing to join. And, she was pretty happy to defend this act even as recently as 2021 when acquaintance of mine, Jack Hadfield, actually, asked her, isn't this going to be used as a tool for censorship? Well, she said, oh yeah, but it's for misinformation. Now she's doing a UE on there. And also it means we can have a party hopefully not too tied to America, because they seem to be doing whatever the Americans are doing, like the Britannia card or the, what to tell criminals at El Salvador, that sort of thing. And they're scared to sort of deviate, like when he's, Trump said about Tylenol causing autism or something. Like the fact that they couldn't say, well, no, that's not necessarily true. I don't think it is true. Like, they couldn't say no to that. Well, it's like, you can say no to these things. It's not illegal. Are they going to take your funding away or something else? Just a joke.
Yeah, of course. It's the longest standing political party in the world. It's always going to have a future. It's not just going to fade out. I think right now it is at a low point, but it's got enough experience to bounce back, and if it needs to change, it will.
There will always be, at the heart of the British population, a conservative lean, I think. I mean, the idea that the Conservative Party's dead and they're never going to have any seats and they lose every MP is palpably ludicrous. There will still be seats. Whether the Conservative Party has to kind of redefine itself, going from Boris, where you were certainly selling an idea of Conservative with a small c on the social aspect, but economically kind of slightly more to the left, which is sort of what Reform's offering. Whether the Conservative Party in the future moves towards being something that's more like the home counties, the seats they lost to the Lib Dems, the kind of more affluent, liberal in a kind of classical sense, but therefore has to accept of never particularly being bigger than 150 seats, I would say that's possibly where the future's going to be.
I was at an event the other day, a spectator event, who said the Conservative Party, and I do agree with this, is not going to start to come back truly until it, faces up to where it did go wrong, where it did let people down. And, I will acknowledge we let people down with some, quite spectacularly, with people like Liz Truss. Now I acknowledge this does sound like I'm being incredibly pessimistic and hating on the Conservative Party, but I also don't want to appear out of touch.
There's clearly a lot of energy from young people in wanting to see this party succeed, and obviously I'm an elected councillor where I live, and there's a lot of young people who are trying to get involved, a lot of young people trying to get, sorry, I've just seen someone else I know, so I think there's a real energy from a lot of young people, and so yeah, I want to make sure that that's continued, and I want to work hard to make sure that we maybe win the next election, but we'll do what we can to go forward.